power meters. They're an extremely useful tool for cyclists and they come in many different forms. The ones we're going to talk about today are the pedal-based forms, and right here I have the Favero Assioma Duo. So I have the box here for the Favero Assioma Duo, and I've kept the box but I've been using them for a while now. The box opening experience is quite nice. So from here you can just open the box and you get the pedals in here, and you actually get quite a lot with them. So you get your pedals initially, and you can take this out, you get an Allen key, you actually get some pedals that are included as well. I tend to use the grey ones from Look with a bit less float, and it also comes with your charger, which I actually just tend to keep in this bag here rather than putting it back in the box every time. The pedals here usually retail between £550 and £600. I managed to find mine for £550, so I'm sure you could find yours for that price too. And for a dual-sided power meter, I think that's a reasonable price. The reason I purchased these power meters is for my time trial bike. I like to use them when time trialing as a way to manage my effort and analyse my performance a bit better, rather than just using a time-based thing, because then the conditions come into play, such as the weather, the wind, the conditions of the roads, how many cars there were. So using the power output is actually a nicer measure of your performance during a time trial. I actually feel naked nowadays without cycling with a power meter, so I feel like I need one because I've used them for so long now. There are 5 reasons why I actually went for the Favero Assioma Duos, and the first one is that they seem to be just as accurate as the other crank-based power meters. So there's a man called Shane Miller here on YouTube, and he has done lots of power meter comparison tests and compared the accuracy of sprinting, normal use and stuff like that, open world uses, and he's found these to be quite accurate compared to most crank-based power meters as well. So that's one of the reasons why I went for them. I've never actually used these pedals for sprinting, so I don't know how well they measure when you're at peak power, but once again, compared to other tests and crank-based power meters from like the person called Shane Miller, they actually seem to test really well again. So I believe that they would test well for sprinting. I just can't say that for certain on my own. The second reason is that they cost just as much as a normal crank-based power meter, but they come with other advantages. So with the accuracy and the cost, that brings me on to number 3. And that reason is that these padded pedals can be put onto any bike that you want to. They're super easy to change. I usually have them right here on my time trial bike for most of summer. And then actually for winter, I actually put them on my girlfriend's winter bike so she can use them throughout winter, so she has some power data throughout winter. So they're easy to take on and off. They're just a normal pedal really. It also really comes a benefit when you're traveling abroad. Say you're hiring a bicycle, once again, just like you'll pop your saddle on, you would just pop these on, change the crank length on the app, 0, offset it, and you're good to go. The 4th reason that I bought these is because they use the LookKeo system. So I've been using Looks from the start, purely for the reason as that's what I was given to begin with, and now I use it for everything. So these integrate with my system really well. They do come with a Shimano version that you can link the pedal up to, but for me, these just came as is, ready to fit the LookKeos from the word go. Then there's the final and the 5th reason as to why I bought these, and that is the charging. Basically, these are a rechargeable power meter. You don't have to put batteries in them, you don't have to swap them out, and I really like that. You can literally just plug it on, it's just like a little magnetic hook that goes on here, and it charges them up right away. They charge pretty quick. I usually leave them on for about 4 hours just to make sure that they're fully charged, but I don't like changing the batteries on things. I just want to plug it on, charge it up, good to go. There are other features which I will show you a clip of my phone here, where you actually get a lot more power data metrics than I thought you would have, and you actually tend to get even more than I do from my tarmac power meter here that comes from the Specialized on the crank-based meter. So you get things like peak torque effectiveness, pedal smoothness efficiency, and you can just see a lot more afterwards. In all honesty, I actually don't use these at all really to try and improve on or anything, but it's nice to just see that extra little bit of data. It makes me feel happy that I bought them. Another benefit to these power meter pedals is that they do come with a 2-year warranty, so you can feel pretty confident using them. Like I said, I've used them throughout winter, or my girlfriend has, and they've been absolutely fine. So I think that 2-year warranty does actually give you some confidence in the power meters. When I wash these, or when I wash my bike, I tend not to really do much different, apart from I do direct the washer away from these. I just kind of get them wet. I don't put the power washer near them, and they also recommend you don't use an air compressor. So I use an air compressor to dry off some of the fiddly bits on my bike, not the main bits. And they recommend you don't use them close by, just in case. Even though they're IPX67 water rated, you never know what's going to happen. So I tend to keep the air compressor away from these power meters, just in case. Just as most pedals come with, these are adjustable as well. So there's a little Allen key on the bottom here, and you just twist it to increase the resistance or lower it. I've just kept it in the middle. It's actually quite a stiff pedal anyway, or quite a stiff spring. And like I said, I use them for time trials. I clip in at the start, and I don't unclip until the end. So these work perfectly for me. In terms of zero offsetting these power meters, you can do it from, I use a Garmin, so you can do it from the Garmin itself, but I also just tend to do it from the app before I start my time trial. I'll spin the pedals for a second, the orange lights will flash, and I'll hook them up to the app. It takes like 2 seconds, and then just click zero offset from there. The only time you need to change anything is if you're changing bikes and the crank length has changed. So for example, my time trial bike here has a 170mm crank, and my girlfriend's bike has a 172.5mm crank. In terms of temperature change when you're cycling along, these have automatic temperature recognition in them, so I don't think they really measure the temperature, but they adjust themselves accordingly to the changes in the temperature, so you don't have to worry about that or re-zero offset halfway through a ride if you want perfect accuracy. I've talked about a lot of positives for these pedals so far, and there really are mostly positives. There's only one downside to these, and it's such a small downside, I don't even know if you could call it that. So, like I said, I use these for time trialing or when I'm doing a triathlon so I can see my power meter and measure my effort. The only thing is that they're not really an aerodynamic pedal, but they're such a small part of the bike, doesn't really make that much difference. If you were looking for those final gains, then you can go to something such as like the Wahoo Speedplay aerodynamic pedal. But for me, this is more than fine, so I don't really see it as a negative. But if you want those final marginal gains, maybe that's for you. I don't think I'm that nitpicky. What can I say? These are a great option for me. I'll be hard pressed to find any negatives about them, to be honest. I can easily recommend these pedals, especially if you use the LookKeo systems. But like I said, they do provide for a Shimano option as well. They always work, they're hassle-free, they're easy to set up, and I really recommend these pedals. If you've had any experience with these pedals, if you've purchased them in the past or you've had any negatives, feel free to let me know down in the comments. But I like these pedals. Thank you so much for watching this review of the Favero Assioma Duo pedals, and I look forward to seeing you again in a future video.